Hi yogis, welcome to this Thursday night YogaZo flow. You're in for 60 minutes of yoga, so we'll get started on our mat in a peaceful warrior. Toes touching, knees separated about mats width distance apart, and then start to walk the hands out. And release your forehead down to the earth. Let yourself relax here and just close the eyes and start to focus on the breath. If you are tight in the hips, it helps to modify by bringing a pillow or a block underneath the forehead so you're not having to amplify the opening on the hips as much. And here we're going to start to let go of any distractions, anything that you're holding on to from this day or from this week or month, whatever it is. On our inhales, we're going to start to build that connection to our physical body, allowing the mind and the body to connect, to be in sync. On our exhales, we'll start to release any worries, any physical tension we're holding on to, any distractions. We start to slow down the inhales to about 6 seconds, drawing that oxygen in through the nose and releasing it out through the lips. On our exhales, we also want to slow down that breath to about 6, maybe even 7 seconds. So we control the expansion of our diaphragm so that we slowly release all of that stale air. Take a few breath cycles here, starting to set your intention for your practice tonight, whatever that might be. What drew you to your mat tonight? What is it that you hope to achieve from this practice? Maybe you're hoping to improve on a physical aspect of your yoga, or maybe you're just looking to quiet your mind. Start to seal that intention here with 7 deep cleansing breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Try to create a sigh, an HA ha, as you release those exhales. So as all of our attention and awareness comes to our breath and to this intention that we've set, slowly everything else starts to fade away. Yes, our practice starts off a little bit slowly, but we'll get going soon enough. This portion here of our practice is the most important part. If you do nothing else but remain here in your peaceful warrior, connected to the breath, reminded of that intention, then you will have done yoga for an hour, and it's just as good as any other physical type of movement that you might find on your mat. On your next inhale, start to lift your forehead and walk the hands over toward the left side of your mat, maybe even onto the ground. Release the forehead back down. Keep reaching the hips down toward the heels. Feel the right side body opening up, creating space between the ribs and the underarm, all the way down to the right hip. One more deep inhale. Release, exhale, and start to walk the hands over toward that right side. Release the forehead gently to the earth. Keep reaching the hips toward the heels, feeling the left side body getting an opening here. On the inhales, imagine that breath expanding the left side body, the rib cage, creating space. Start to walk the hands back towards center. Release the forehead down to the mat one more time. Hands to prayer, start to bend the elbows. Bring the thumbs to the back of your neck. If it feels good, you can walk the elbows up a little bit here. elongating the spine, creating space between the vertebrae. We start to release the hands back to the mat. On the inhale, we'll find a tabletop position, bringing the knees underneath the hips and the hands underneath the shoulders. Here we'll take a few cat-cow breathing cycles, at least 5. Inhale to your cow. Drop your belly, lift your hips, lift your eye gaze. Deep breath in. When you are ready to exhale, start to find your cow. Tucking the belly in toward the spine, pressing the mat away, we let the shoulder blades spread apart. Inhale up, drop the belly, reach the chest forward and through the biceps. On your exhale, finding cat pose, that gentle forward fold. Few more cycles here, following your breath. Deepening the back bend and forward fold with each cycle. Eventually we'll meet back in our neutral tabletop position. Start to walk the hands over toward the right side. Still in your tabletop, knees stay exactly where they are. We press both hands, especially that left hand, firmly into the mat, and then bring your eye gaze towards the back of the mat if that feels comfortable. Deep breath in. Exhale, start to walk it back towards center, and then over toward the left side. Pressing both hands into the mat, especially that right hand. Eye gaze looks back. One more breath. And release. Coming back forward. Inhale your right hand high. Circling the arm back, down, and around 3 times here. 3 large circles, moving the hips along for the ride. And then we reverse the direction of that circle, moving the arm forward. At the end of those 3 circles in both directions, reach the right arm up high and thread that right arm underneath the left shoulder. Right ear comes down to the mat. And we try to relax here with the hips over the knees, not letting our body slide forward, not letting the hips move back behind the knees, but allowing our hips to stack. Take a deep breath in. Maybe take that left arm behind you, finding a half bind, fingers tucking in towards that right thigh hip crease. We take one more slow and controlled breath. If you took that half bind, bring the left arm back down to the earth, left hand under the left shoulder. Press into the mat, unthread the right arm, reach it up high one more time, and then release the right hand down. Other side, left arm reaches up, and we take those 3 circles towards the back of the mat, moving the hips along with the arm, and then we reverse that direction, taking it forward. At the end of those 3 circles in each direction, reach the left arm up and thread it underneath the right shoulder. Left ear down to the mat. We allow our right arm to reach back behind us, tucking the fingers in between that left thigh hip crease if that feels good to the right shoulder. One more breath here. And then we release the right hand back to the earth below the right shoulder. Reach that left hand back up. Exhale, tabletop. We'll start to walk the hands forward, leaving the hips stacked over the knees. We find melted heart or puppy pose. Hands reach forward towards the top of the mat. To modify, we can place a pillow underneath the chest. Otherwise, we try to bring the chin down toward the mat. If you've got a little bit more of an opening in your spine, you can start to bring the throat space down or maybe even the chest toward the earth. Again, we want to avoid sliding forward, keeping the hips stacked over the knees. Allow this gentle back bend to open up the top part of our spine and shoulders. We try not to fight it, but instead allow ourselves slow and controlled inhales and exhales. When you're ready, start to slide forward, coming onto the forearms. Relax your hips down toward the mat. Separate your feet, hips with distance. Press both hands firmly into the mat. We're engaged here so that we're not sinking down in the shoulders. We're nice and long. Start to tuck the chin toward the chest. Let the back of your neck open up. Our Sphinx Pose. Lots of back bending and side bending for our spine tonight. If your chin is tucked toward the chest, start to lift your eye gaze back to neutral and then slowly bring it toward the left. Come back to neutral and take your eye gaze over past that right shoulder. And then we bring the eye gaze back forward. We send the hips back, walking the hands until we find our tabletop once more. Here we will tuck our toes, starting to lift the knees from the mat. We'll hover here for just a moment. Start to engage all the muscles in your fingers, press them firmly into the mat, separate the weight across the hand, and then start to straighten the legs, reaching the hips up toward the sky and the heels down toward the mat. Eye gaze between the hands. We want to pedal out the legs and find organic movement here that feels good to your body. Doesn't really matter what it looks like. We straighten one leg while bending the opposite knee. This allows us to really get into the backs of our legs and to deepen the stretch in this pose. Slowly start to walk the feet forward until we meet in a forward fold Uttasana at the top of our mat. So just like we did in that downward dog, we're going to bend one knee at a time, straightening the opposite leg, getting into the IT band here with this stretch. Take a few cycles here. Allow your head to hang heavy. Keeping the left knee bent, right leg straight. Bring your left hand down in front of the right foot or onto a block. Right hand coming to our right hip. We'll start to twist open toward that right side. Really work on twisting and stacking the right shoulder over the left. Release the right hand up toward the sky when you're ready. Keeping that stack and twist. Option to bring the right arm behind you. Again, tucking the fingers in that left thigh hip crease. So right now you should be feeling the stretch in the right glute, the right IT band, maybe that right hip getting a nice tug as well. Take one more breath wherever you are. And then we start to release, first reaching the right hand up, and then exhaling as we bring it down. Pedal out your legs once more, a couple times each leg. Settling with our right knee bent, left leg straight, right hand in front of the left foot. With our left hand on our left hip, we start to open left side, really stacking the left shoulder over the right. Eye gaze looking up. Option to reach the left hand up and bring it behind you, taking a half bind. Still twisted. Still feeling the stretch in the back of our left glute and leg. We start to release the left hand back up toward the sky, exhaling as we bring it down. Back to our forward fold, both legs straight. Here we'll take a slight bend in both knees as we hug opposite elbows. Shake your head out, yes. Shake your head out, no. Allow yourself to sway left to right, finding a ragdoll pose. Letting your head be heavy, pulling you deeper into the pose like an anchor. We slowly start to straighten the legs and release the hands towards the mat. Stacking one vertebrae at a time, we make our way into standing pose, Tadasana. Palms face forward, shoulders out of our ears. We have a nice long straight spine, a nice long neck. On your next inhale, reach the hands up overhead. On the exhale, cactus the arms, taking a back bend as you engage the glutes. Reach your chest and your throat space up. Inhale, reach the hands up one more time. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, reach the hands up. And then swing the hands behind you. Interlace all of your fingers here. We're going to keep that grip as we start to bend our knees a little bit. And then exhale, forward fold. Allow the hands to fall towards the top of the mat. Here you can straighten the legs as much as feels comfortable. Allow your shoulders to release here. We bend our left knee, straightening the right leg, just like we did before. Our hands fall over toward the left. Switching sides, we straighten the left leg, bending the right knee, hands fall over toward the right. Straighten both legs, release the hands to the mat. On your inhale, lift your right leg high. Find a standing L pose, creating a 90-degree angle with both legs. Lift that right leg a little higher, pointing the toes down toward the earth. On the exhale, start to bend the left knee, bringing the right knee right behind it. Right toes reaching towards the glutes. Our hands are still on the mat. Inhale, straighten the right leg and left leg back to our standing L. We'll do that again. Right knee behind the left. Bend the left knee, hands still on the mat. Inhale, straighten. Third and final time, bring that right knee behind the left. And then start to sit it down. So the right thigh is on the outside of that left leg. We inhale and reach the hands up overhead. And then we exhale, coming down. Allow your chest to melt over the thighs. Hands on the mat, we'll step back onto the left foot, finding our standing L. Left hand down on the mat, or a block if you like, and we start to bring that right hand toward our right hip. Right leg is still lifted here. We'll start to open toward that right side, finding Ardha Chandrasana, our half moon pose. Right hip stacking over the left, right shoulder stacking over the left shoulder. We reach that right hand up. Keep that right heel in line with the right hip. One more breath. On your exhale, start to bring it down. Right hand coming down toward the mat, right hip closing off. On the exhale, right knee towards the nose. Inhale, send it out. Float the right foot down. Inhale your left leg high. Standing L, other side. On the exhale, bring the left knee towards the back of the right. Bending both knees here. Left toes pointed straight up toward the sky. Straighten both legs, standing L. Bend the knees. Left knee below or behind the right. Inhale, straighten. Third and final time, bring that left knee behind the right. Allow it to slide down toward the mat and release your bottom towards the earth. Swing your hands up overhead. Exhale, release down. Hands on the mat, we step onto the right foot, standing L once more. Exhale, left knee towards the nose. Inhale, send it out. Exhale, left knee to nose. Inhale, send it out. Float the left foot down, forward fold. We reverse swan dive, arms reach out wide as we inhale all the way up. Hands interlace, release just your pointer fingers, and then exhale over to the right. Bump your left hip over toward the left. Maybe eye gaze looks up past the left shoulder. One more breath. And then moving on an inhale, we come back to center. Moving on an exhale, we release towards the other side. Hips bump over toward the right. Eye gaze looking past the right elbow. One more breath. And we inhale back up. Exhale, swan dive forward. From your forward fold, walk your feet back. Find a downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Maybe you feel a little bit more open in the backs of your legs here, and you're able to reach the heels towards the earth this time. If not, that's fine. Start to walk the feet forward. Almost forgot that Ardha Chandrasana on the left side. So bringing that block underneath the right hand if you used it on the other side. Inhale the left leg up, standing L first. And then we start to open up, left hand reaching up toward the sky, left hip stacking over the right. We find that half moon pose, other side. Gotta leave us even on both sides, yogis. Lift that left heel a little higher so it's in line with the hip. One more breath. And then we exhale down. Standing L, and release the left foot towards the mat. Now walk it back to our down dog, and we'll move through a warrior series here. Inhale your right leg high. Point the toes up toward the sky and reach a little higher. Feel that stretch in the back of your left leg. Open and stack that right hip over the left. Bend your right knee. Circle your right foot clockwise and counterclockwise here. Let the right hip open up. Straighten the right leg once more. Square that right hip off with the left. And then on your exhale, right knee in towards the nose, shift the weight forward. Inhale, send it up. Exhale, right knee to nose. Inhale, send it up. Third and final time, exhale, right knee to nose. Create the space you need to bring that right foot down in between the hands. Release your left knee to the mat, untuck the toes. Shift the weight back, straightening the right leg. We find Ardha Hanumanasana, or half splits. Hands can be on blocks here. On the inhale, we reach the chin forward, lengthening the spine. On the exhale, chin towards the right shin. Inhale the chin forward. Exhale, chin towards the shin. Left hand stays under the left shoulder, right hand starts to lift. Revolved half splits. Start to release that right hand back to the earth. And we walk the hands forward, right foot meets the mat. Tuck the left toes here. Lift your left knee from the mat. Leaving your left hand on the earth, we'll bring the right hand up toward the sky, side twisted lunge. Deep breath in. Exhale, release the right hand down. We inhale and sweep the hands up overhead, finding Anjaneyasana, our crescent lunge. This left hip is going to want to open up, so you need to bring it forward, maybe even using your hand there. So both hips are pointed towards the front of your mat. Left leg is engaged, nice and straight. Right knee stacked over the right ankle. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, cactus the arms, lift your chest and your throat up toward the sky. Inhale, reach. Bring the hands down to the mat. Step onto the right foot, standing L. Exhale, float it down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway, flat spine. Exhale, release. One more time, Tadasana, half lift. On the exhale, release, Uttasana, or forward fold. Start to walk the feet back. Find your down dog. Inhale the left leg high. Point the toes straight up toward the sky. Lift and reach, feeling the stretch in the back of the right leg. And then we open and stack that left hip over the right, bending the left knee. Circle the left ankle, circle it left and right. And then we stack the left hip over the, or straighten the left leg and then square the left hip with the right. Back to our one-legged down dog. On the exhale, left knee to nose, shift the weight forward. Inhale, send it up. Exhale, left knee to nose. Inhale, send it up. Third and final time, we'll exhale, left knee to nose. Drop the left foot down. Right knee to the mat, untuck the right toes. Send the hips back, find that half splits on the left side. Left toes pointed straight up. So here, our right hip wants to open to the right, so bring it forward in line with the left. On the inhale, lift your chin forward toward the toes. On the exhale, chin toward the left shin. Inhale, chin toward the toes. Exhale, chin to shin. We start to walk the hands forward, left foot meets the mat. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee from the earth. Right hand staying under the right shoulder, left hand starts to lift. We find our side twisted lunge on the left side. One more breath. Exhale, bring the left hand down. Step onto the left foot, right leg lifts, standing L. And we float that right leg down to meet the left. Inhale all the way up, reverse swan dive. Exhale, cactus the arms, take a back bend. Inhale, reach. Exhale, cactus the arms, back bend. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward, swan dive. So here we'll make our way back into our chaturanga. Know that you can drop down to the knees to modify this sequence here, or you could skip it altogether and just meet in down dog. From forward fold, we can hop back into that chaturanga or low plank, or we can step back and find our high plank, beginning from here. Everyone's going to meet in their plank, rolling back and forth on the toes. Keep the booty down. Get puffy in the shoulders, really pressing the earth away. And then settle with the shoulders past the wrists here, so as far forward as your toes will allow you. On the exhale, start to bend the elbows, create a shelf underneath the ribs, squeeze it in. Inhale, lift your chest, drop the thighs down, upward facing dog. On the exhale, we'll meet in down dog. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right knee to nose. Inhale, send it up. 3 times total. Exhale, right knee to nose. Inhale, send it up. Third time, we drop the right foot down between the hands. Left heel is going to drop to the mat. That left heel is in line with this right foot. Left toe is pointed out at a 45-degree angle. And then we inhale and sweep the hands up overhead. Finding warrior one. Deep breath in. Bring the hands behind you. Interlace all the fingers here. On the inhale, we lift our chest and eye gaze. On the exhale, drop your body, your torso down on the inside of that right thigh. Try not to place any weight onto the right thigh here. Allow your hands to pull you deeper into the pose. One day, the crown of our head grazing the mat here. Release the hands towards the mat, keeping that bend in the right knee. Walk the hands forward toward the top of your mat and maybe onto the earth. Find a lazy warrior. Walk the hands back toward that right foot. Inhale, sweep the hands up overhead, meeting in our warrior one. We walk that left foot up a little bit to meet the right and straighten that right leg. So we're getting ready for our pyramid pose. Bring the hands down to your hips here for a moment. I want you to notice that both hips are pointed forward in the same direction. It's this left hip that wants to open up, so bring it forward in line with the right. And then we inhale and sweep the hands up, interlacing all but our pointer fingers, squeezing our ears with our biceps. Tuck your chin in toward your chest. Take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, start to draw a line all the way down the wall towards the earth. Keep squeezing the chin towards the chest, the ears with the biceps, until the fingers meet the mat in front of the right toes. So for stability here, we can separate the hands, framing the right foot. To challenge our balance, keep the hands interlaced. Our kneeling salute pose. So the goal here is to bring the forehead towards the right knee. So we're going to bend our right knee as much as we need to so that it can connect to the forehead. Then use the forehead to push the right leg straight, or as straight as you can without forcing. Deep breath in. Release. We interlace our fingers once again, releasing the pointer fingers. And we draw that same line across the floor, wall, ceiling, until we make our way back up. Chin is the last to rise. Open up into warrior two. So left foot is going to come parallel to the back of our mat. We'll separate the distance between our feet. Right knee will bend. We want to stack this right knee over the right ankle here. Maybe one day this right leg will come to a 90-degree bend. Eye gaze looking past the right fingertips. Reverse your warrior, flipping the right palm, reaching that right hand toward the sky. Left hand reaching down the left leg. Deep breath in. And then come back to warrior two. Straighten the right leg. Bump your left hip back. Reach the right hand forward. Trikonasana pose. Right hand coming to the right shin or to a block. Or if you've got the flexibility, maybe to the earth. What's more important here than the placement of the hand is the stack of the left hip over the right and the left shoulder over the right shoulder. We want to stay open in the front side of our body. Eye gaze looking past the left fingertips. Next inhale will bring you back to warrior two. Pump your warriors here, straightening both legs. We reach the hands up. Eye gaze lifts slightly. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale up. Exhale, warrior two. Third and final time, inhale up. Lift the right toes, pivot on that right heel. Right toes come to face the same direction as the left. And then on the exhale, we bend the elbows, bend the knees. Cactusing the arms, we find our goddess pose. So sit it down a little deeper. Keep those elbows in line with the shoulders and start to lean left and right, playing with the weight distribution. If you feel any pain in the knees, you can back out of the pose or modify by not bending the knees so much. We'll start to come up high on the right toes. Sit it a little deeper. Release the right heel to the mat. Lift the left heel from the earth, coming onto the left toes. Sit it a little deeper. Release the left heel down, hands to the thighs, and then we'll press on the inside of that left thigh, twisting the body toward the right. Other side. We want to twist towards the left, hand on the inside of that right thigh. Come back to Goddess Pose. Sit it a little deeper. So if you're shaking here, that's good. That's your body changing. If you're starting to sweat, you're building up heat, and it's that purifying heat that rids our body of toxins. Start to straighten both legs, reach the hands up. Pivot on the right heel once more. Come back to Warrior Two. Left foot at 90 degrees, right toes pointed forward. Sweep that left hand forward, come onto the left toes, find Anjaneyasana, hands reaching up overhead. Release the hands down to the mat. Press both hands firmly into the earth and pick up that right foot, send it back, find your plank pose. Taking a chaturanga flow, we'll all meet in our downward facing dog. Hips up toward the sky, eye gaze looking between the hands. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose 3 times here before we drop that left foot down between the hands. On the exhales, we shift the weight forward, really trying to connect the knee toward the nose. Shoulders past the wrist like we did in our plank. And then the foot comes down. Right heel meets the mat here. We find Warrior One, right toes pointed out at a 45-degree angle. Inhaling and sweeping the hands up overhead, Anjaneyasana. Reach the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. This time cross the opposite thumb on top than you did earlier. Inhale and lift your eye gaze, opening your chest forward. Exhale and bring your torso down on the inside of that left leg, allowing the hands to reach towards the top of the mat here. Release your hands towards the earth and walk them out. Find that lazy warrior. Still sending the hips back toward the left side of your mat. We bring our hands back behind us and inhale all the way up, finding Warrior One. Step that right leg forward, straighten the left, and find your pyramid pose here. So shorter stance than we had for our warrior. This right heel still behind the left heel. We reach the hands up overhead, interlacing all but our pointer finger, squeezing the ears of the biceps. We tuck the chin toward our chest, and we start to draw that line all the way down towards the left foot. Once you get there, you can leave your hands together or separate them for stability, framing the left foot. And then we bend our left knee. We try to bring our forehead to the knee, keeping it bent or using the knee to straighten the left leg. 2 deep breaths here. I know this posture can be uncomfortable, causes us to become frustrated, but we're here rinsing out our tissues of toxins, starting to release all of those toxins from our lymph nodes by tucking the chin to the chest. We interlace the hands once more. We draw that same line all the way up. Chin is the last thing to rise. And then we open up to our Warrior Two. So right foot is at that 90-degree angle. Left knee is stacked over the left ankle. Hands are reaching out wide. Eye gaze looking between the fingertips here of the left hand. Sit it a little deeper. Flip the left palm, reverse your warrior. Left hand reaching toward the sky. We feel this opening in the left side body. Come back to Warrior Two. Straighten the left leg. Bump your right hip back. Reach the left hand forward and find Trikonasana, triangle pose. Try not to lock the left knee. Keep a micro bend to protect that joint. Eye gaze looking past the right fingertips. One more breath. And then we'll inhale all the way back up, finding warrior two. Start to pump your warriors, inhaling as we straighten both legs. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten and reach. Exhale, warrior two. Third time, we're going to reach and lift the heels, pivoting so that the toes come to face the same direction as the right. And then this time we'll exhale and forward fold. So we're going to find a wide-legged forward fold. If an inversion is in your practice, you can start to work on that here if you need one, if you would like one. Otherwise, start to turn the fingers of the hands so that they point in the opposite directions of the toes. And walk the hands back with the palms connected to the mat. We reach the hips up toward the sky and keep walking the hands back as much as feels good to our body. Maybe one day we can bring the crown of the head towards the mat. Keep breathing here. So yogi's choice, whatever you feel you need in this posture. If you want to even sit it out and just take a few moments to catch your breath, that's fine too. If you took that inversion, start to meet us back in that wide-legged forward fold. We'll all bring those hands underneath the shoulders, fingers pointed forward. Start to walk the hands towards the right foot, leaving the hands on the earth, framing the right foot. We inhale and lift the chin towards the toes. Exhale, chin toward the right shin. Inhale, chin towards the toes. Exhale, chin toward the right shin. Feel that opening along the back of your right leg and the right piriformis, and release your forehead towards the shin a little more. Release, start to walk hand over hand towards the left, framing the left foot here. Inhale, reach the chin forward towards the toes. Exhale, chin toward the left shin. Inhale, chin towards the toes. Exhale, chin toward the shin. Walk hand over hand toward the right, back towards center. And then we inhale and sweep the hands up overhead. Come down to your goddess pose once more. Second and final time that we're going to be here. You can do it. This time you have the option to come up high on both sets of toes, so lifting both heels from the mat at the same time. We're challenging our balance and our presence. If you're shaking, that's okay. If you fall out of it, that's all right. Get back in. Sit the hips a little lower. Release the heels. Release the hands. Forward fold. We'll come back into our warrior two on the left side. Left knee bends and stacks over that left ankle. Hands reaching in opposite directions. Pivoting on the right toes, we come back to Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge. Reach the hands up overhead. And then release the hands to the mat, step onto the left foot, right leg lifts and floats down. Forward fold. Here we're all going to bend the knees as much as we need to bring the hands to the mat. We'll bring the eye gaze forward. Start to shift the weight forward onto the toes. We're all going to practice a jump back here. So all in one motion. If you want to watch me first, that's fine. We're going to jump back into our chaturanga or our low plank pose and immediately push up into our plank. So knees are bent, hands are flat on the mat, eye gaze is forward, we come up on the toes. And then all in one motion, we keep the shoulders forward, we send the legs back and bend the arms. So we want to bend the arms at the same time that we send the legs back to protect our rotator cuff. And then we straighten the arms coming into our plank pose. Stay here for a moment. And then open up on the right, pivoting onto the left side of your foot. Right hand reaches up. We find Vashistasana, side plank. Lift your hips high. Right hand reaching towards the top of the mat. One more breath. Release the right hand down, pivot on the toes, other side. Left hand reaches up and towards the top of your mat. And we reach the hips up a little higher. Release that left hand down. Here we'll take our Chaturanga flow. Bend the elbows like a shelf. Drop the hips, lift your chest up. Exhale, send it back. Find peaceful warrior. Forehead to the mat. Catch your breath. Start to slow down your breathing. So we're through with the standing portion of our practice. We're not done moving and we're not done focusing on that breath. So allow yourself to commit to finishing this practice here. It's easy to get up, wander off, get a cup of water, distract ourselves, and say, oh, that was enough. But give yourself this time. Finish what you started. And let's all meet in our Shavasana, our reward, without skipping out on the rest of our yogis. Come back to your tabletop. Neutral spine here, shoulders over the wrists. Inhale your right leg high, one-legged tabletop. Start to bend your right knee. Imagine you're stamping the ceiling with that right foot. Lift the right knee a little higher, engage that right glute and right quad. Straighten the right leg. Keep the right foot lifted, the right heel in line with the hip. And then once more, bend the right knee, stamping the ceiling with the right foot. Straighten the right leg. Exhale, right knee over toward the right elbow. And then drop the foot down on the outside of that right hand. Find your lizard lunge. So maybe you walk that left knee back a little bit. Maybe you walk that right foot out more. And then we come down to our elbows. If that feels good, option to use blocks if you need them. Keep that right foot connected to the earth. I know a lot of times we see people, and we might even do this ourselves, allow that right foot to come onto the razor side edge. It feels different, it's a different posture, and it gives us a different opening for the hips. So allow yourself to be here in our traditional lizard for a few moments. One more breath. And then we'll all come back to the palms of the hands. You can stay here, or option to get a quad stretch for the left, bending the left knee. You can stay here or twist, reaching back with the right hand, grabbing a hold of the top of the left ankle. On the exhale, drawing that left foot toward the glute, feeling the quad and the hip flexor muscles open up. One more breath. On the exhale, we release the left foot to the mat, right hand comes back to the earth. And then we walk that right foot over toward the left, finding Pigeon Pose. So right shin can be parallel to our mat, but most likely it's not. What's more important is that this left hip is squared with the right. So we don't want to be here, we want to be here. Now again, we can bring a block into our practice to modify, sliding it underneath the right glute so that we're not straining or putting pressure on our body. You can stay up on the palms, or you can start to walk the hands forward, melting the chest down over that right leg. If this posture is not one of your favorites, if it hurts your body, then you can come onto your back and find a figure 4 pose, also called our modified pigeon. Bringing the right foot on top of the left thigh, so you can get a stretch in the same areas, but in a lot more gentle way. So we're going to take at least 3 more slow, deep breaths in our pigeon. If you want to play with Mermaid, come back onto your hands. We're going to keep the hips reaching forward here, keep them squared, and then we'll start to bend the left knee. Left toes pointed up toward the sky. Right hand stays on the mat and the left hand starts to lift and reach back. We grab a hold of the inside of our left ankle. You can stay here, or you can start to slide that foot towards the left elbow. Wherever you are, don't strain. And if you need to use a strap to grab the left ankle, that's fine. That's how we progress in our practice. One more breath wherever you are. And then we'll all meet back in that pigeon pose. Tuck the left toes, walk that left knee forward until you can bring the weight into the elbows. And then send that right foot back, find your tabletop. We inhale our left leg high, one-legged tabletop. On the exhale, bend your left knee. Keep the left thigh lifted. Stamp the ceiling with that left foot. Lift the thigh a little more. Straighten the left leg, point the toes. Once again, bend the left knee. Stamp the ceiling with that left foot. Lift it a little higher, building up strength. And then straighten the left leg once more. On the exhale, left knee towards the left elbow. Drop the left foot down on the outside of your mat. Walk the right knee back if you need to. And find your tabletop, or your lizard pose. I wish, tabletop. So lizard for a lot of people can be really confrontational. It can be a challenging posture for more reasons than just holding tightness in the hips. We tend to also store emotions in this area. Our hips are often called a emotional warehouse. And so a lot of times when we start to open up the hip, we feel like frustration and sadness, anger, all of these emotions just come out of nowhere. Truth is that we've been holding them in, we've stored them in our body and our tissues, and we're walking around with that trauma, that anger, whatever it is. So we want to allow ourselves to feel those emotions. It's normal and it's healthy. But also know that you're holding on to those, and on your exhales, try to visualize a release. Allow yourself to be a little lighter and freer. Our experiences do not define us, nor do they define where we will go, where we can or can't go, what we can and can't do. So do not settle and start to perseverate on your mistakes, on your negative experiences. Just allow them to teach you and keep moving through all of that discomfort. If you took that quad stretch on the other side, start to come onto the palms of the hands and bend your right knee, toes reaching up toward the sky. We stay here with this active stretch, or we reach and twist, left hand reaching for the outside of that right ankle. With gentle pressure, we bring the right foot toward the glute. Feel the right quad get a stretch. And then we release right foot to the mat, left hand back to the earth. Find your pigeon pose or modified pigeon if you did on the other side. Remember, this right hip is the one that's going to want to open up here, so keep reaching it forward. We can come down onto the elbows if we did on the other side, allowing our chest to melt down on top of the left leg. We can certainly stay here in our pigeon pose, feeling the left piriformis stretching, the left glute, the left hip. Or we can come back to the palms and work on that mermaid pose if we tried it on the other side. And if you tried it on the other side and you feel like maybe you failed or you didn't do what you wanted to, that doesn't mean you don't need to try it here. Start to bend that right knee. Left hand stays on the mat, right hand reaches back for the inside of the right ankle here. You can work on moving that foot towards the crook of your elbow, or just stay exactly where you are. We don't want to strain or force. We don't want to injure our knee. Release that right foot back to the mat. We start to walk that right knee forward until we can slide that left knee back, tabletop. And then we'll create some figure 8 motions here. So we're going to send the hips to one direction, while the shoulders go in the opposite. And then we'll create a figure 8 motion. So you might feel silly. Let go of that idea. Find a few figure 8s in one direction and then switch directions, hips moving towards the opposite side. Releasing any tension in the hips or shoulders. Coming back to neutral, we tuck the toes underneath our feet, and then we walk the hands back until we can sit down onto our ankles. To modify, keep the hands on the mat. To amplify, reach the hands up overhead, eye gaze lifts. Hands together in prayer, pull it down to your chest. Feeling the underside of our feet open up, getting this toe stretch. Nourishing this area of our bodies that we spend a lot of time on. If your hands are at prayer, release them to your sides. Everyone together, inhale the hands up. On the exhale, bring it down, tabletop. Untuck the toes. Tap the tops of your feet into the mat. Start to sit it down onto your bottom and send the feet out straight. On your inhale, reach the hands up overhead. On the exhale, fold forward. Seated forward fold. Let yourself release here. Slowly start to come back upright. Bend your knees here. Press both feet firmly into the mat as you reach the hands forward, palms facing one another. We'll keep pressing the feet firmly into the mat as we pull the belly button in toward our spine. We slowly start to bring one vertebrae down toward the earth at a time, moving super slowly. If you feel the feet start to lift up, send them back down, pressing firmly into the earth. And then we slowly release the shoulders back down toward the mat. Leaving your knees bent, allow your knees to fall left and right, windshield wipering the legs. And then legs straight, let the knees fall towards the left and right as the bottoms of our feet touch, hands down at our sides. We find our reclined butterfly pose. Last little bit of opening for the hips here, for the insides of our thighs. Know that you are nearing the end of your practice, but we're not finished, and the true work is coming. Our Shavasana is going to be the hardest posture that I offer you this evening. I know I'm guilty of constantly getting up in my Shavasana, trying to be quiet so I don't disturb my neighbors. But this is where we start to build up the discipline in our practice, where we really deepen our understanding of ourselves and of our bodies. I can't explain to you how and why this happens, but just know and trust that the more time that you spend in this pose, the more benefits that you will see. So let's meet there. Gently bring the knees together. Straighten the legs, let the heels touch, and allow the toes to fall out toward the left and the right. Hands are down at our sides, and if you feel like the shoulders are up by the ears, walk them down. Tuck the chin toward the chest, back of the neck firmly connected to the mat. We want to maximize how much of our spine is flat on the earth. And then we start to notice where we're holding tension. So starting with the top of the head, release any tension you're holding in the scalp, between the eyebrows and the temples. Open and close your mouth a few times, maybe moving the jaw left and right. Release the tension from the neck and the shoulders. Allow your chest to relax, the belly to just be. Release any tension you're holding in the hips. With each exhale, allowing your legs to rest more heavily on the mat. Any tension you're holding onto in the thighs, the knees, the ankles. We let that go. We stay here as long as we need. If we fall asleep, good, that's fine. I recommend at least 10 breaths. If you become distracted and find yourself thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow or next week, or maybe thinking about that awkward situation at work earlier, start over and count the inhales and exhales. Get to 10 breaths, fully present, fully connected to your body. Thank you, yogis, for letting me guide you through your practice tonight. It's such an honor and always such a privilege of mine to be able to come to this space with all of you. Thank you for being a part of YogaZo, and I hope to see you again on the mat soon. Namaste. Bye, yogis.